I thought about seeing where he is now, and I thought, no, I'll leave him without looking into it. I'll just leave
Yeah,
him riding
that's
off
all
to
you.
Africa.
Yeah,
That's all we need to
like
know.
him. He wants to encapsulate that moment and whatever that weird gelatin shit you were talking about.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, peeps, and welcome to another episode of Audiophiles, isn't it? My name's John. His name is Andy. Walking in the pouring rain, walking with Jesus and Jane. Jane was in her turtleneck. I was much happier then. More on that another time, perhaps. But first, we have business, as Eminem would say. So, because it's Friday, we have a track suggested by one of our wonderful viewers. And that viewer, in case, is Tin Tucky, or whatever they call themselves nowadays. Um, and on the episode Tears for Fears, Woman in Chains, another recommendation, they dropped this suggestion, which is the band's name is The Crimea. Funny story about that. And the track is called Opposite Ends. We've gone down the list, selected this one, flipped the coin, spin the bottle, pin the tail on the donkey, and Andy's ended up being the one who's going to react to this song. I don't think either of us are familiar with the Crimea, the band.
I've heard the name before, and that's as far as my knowledge goes. So I think I don't even know this for sure, but I think they're an English band. But that's all I really know about them. So I'm looking forward to giving them a listen. I think Tin and I have shared enough back and forth on this channel where I've come to appreciate her taste in music. And I think we share there's some Venn diagram shit happening there. So hopefully this falls smack dab in the middle, and I enjoy this track.
Well, I guess we'll soon find out.
Yeah, let me go off and give it a listen. Those guitars are so beautiful. That melody that is being played, this sort of higher registered kind of tinkling circular motion on those notes is so pretty. It's an interesting way to start off a song too. It's kind of like you're almost thrust into the heart of the song, like it just begins. It just is. There is no build up or introduction. There is just the song, and you're in it from the moment you press play. It's an interesting tactic to take. For a minute, you have to like let everything kind of come into focus because you're just again thrust into it. So it takes a moment for me anyway to kind of like get my bearings and let the music kind of unfold, so I can find the bits and pieces of the moving parts that encompass the song. And it's really pretty. These airy vocals, kind of haunty and moody. I do really enjoy what I've heard thus far. That was really interesting too. I wasn't expecting this. You're hearing all this like kind of like I mentioned, airy, moody, higher registered vocals, almost disassociated. And then in comes this exact opposite of that. Although moody is a quality they both share, but he comes in with just this, emotionally charged, kind of anguished delivery, almost like he's on the brink. And that is really intriguing. And both, though they sound different, work with each other and with the music. So yeah, this is indie emo-y kind of sound to it, and I'm here for it. I'm really enjoying it. Ooh, piano. Oh, that piano.
Sleepless skulls walk the tightrope of a rabbit in the headlight stairs, melted together like pink and white marshmallows. Yeah, I was a fool. Yes, you were a fool. But who can name a penny that has not been in the pocket of a fool? Of a fool. Of a fool. It's so bad.
There's this back against the wall, world seemingly crumbling down around him quality to this delivery that is, to me, really, really intriguing. I can understand this probably being polarizing, this vocal delivery, to some people. To me, it is so, it does such a good job of being, like, performative, and I don't think in a way that is, like, disingenuous or, contrived. I think he's delivering this way to convey the emotion of this song, of this piece, in the story that he's telling, which sounds very dark, which, is intriguing to me. That piano. This is different.
It's hardly the stuff of
I wish that had gone on for a little bit longer and blossomed more and developed more into something with the guitar there, because they were going in the right direction. In my estimation, they stopped a little too short, and at 4:19 it wouldn't have hurt for this song to be pushing the 5-minute mark if they had done that. Oh, I really, really like this though.
I ask the questions, get down off your broomstick and sweep the floor. Sometimes I think it could be more than just a punch bag with lipstick on. When I'm half baked and the red mist is gone, I see you lying there and wish that it could always be this way, that I could die this day. You always lying there, me always half baked, without a care in the stupid world, without a stupid world to care about. It's about
that guitar.
it's
such an interesting dynamic between beauty and this manic depressive kind of calamity as well. And the way that they can make those two disparate things come together and work in harmony is a testament to how talented they are, I would imagine. I mean, this is my only listen to this song or any song by them. But man, there was a lot. It was so thought provoking. Some of the lyrics that I caught. Now they were coming from him like he was vomiting them out onto a diary, like scrolling all of these emotions and feelings out at such a pace that it was hard to catch everything. But it definitely sounded like this is a doomed toxic relationship that has seen violence in it. I mean, I think I heard like a punch bag with lipstick at one point. And then he references getting down off your broomstick, which, I mean, we all know that's calling her, a witch. And like him being half baked and the red mist being gone, and like the red mist being like the red that he sees in his fury, which usually suggests, violence. None of this is good, but it's really intriguing, like, to hear the song and subject matter like that being discussed. Yeah, it's dark and moody and really, really, really interesting to me. I would listen to this 1,000 more times. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. There were, I mean, subject matter notwithstanding, but the dynamics and the sounds being toyed with kind of reminded me of some other bands that we have touched on the channel. Like there's some little bits of Sunny Day Real Estate in there. There is Me Without You in here. There's even some early Manchester orchestra sounds in this. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed listening to this song, and I would love to hear more from these guys. I'll be interested to hear what John has to say about this. I'm hoping he did his homework and his research, and I'm almost positive he did. And I can't wait to hear what he has to say about this band and this track that I am desperately yearning to learn more about. So, let's get back to him.
Bob Carriages and Spit the Dog. He's back. So, you've had a gander round the Crimea.
Yeah.
Tiptoed through Putin's forces. And blew that bridge up again, hopefully. And listen to the song as it ends. What did you make of it all?
Oh, this was quite an experience for me. I thoroughly enjoyed this track. And it starts off so interestingly. It's like almost like you're picking up midstream, like being thrust right in the heart of the music without any real build up or introduction. So many songs we've done have these, like, whether small few seconds or these long dragged out musical introductions. We've encountered those far more than we haven't on the channel. And this one just sort of like, boom, you're right in there. And I thought that I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think it's a really interesting decision by the band, and one that I actually like, because it was a nice change of pace. But one thing that happens when that sort of tactic is deployed is that it takes a moment for everything to come into focus. Because when it's an intro, you're just that, you're introduced to these different parts and everything is assembled before you. Whereas this, you're thrown right in the middle of the conveyor belt and everything's already like halfway assembled. You're like, all right, well, let me pick up what I'm hearing here. So it takes a moment or two for everything for me to be able to dissect all of this, substance that has been thrown at me. There's also like this cold, dark mood to the song from the moment it begins, and it's emphasized with this drum and cymbal strikes and those haunting, swirling, higher registered notes and the guitar tinkling away at this quasi forlorn melody. I really liked it. I liked it a lot. I got vibes of like, this is the closest thing to emo that I've gotten from an English band, if my assumption is even correct about them being English. I could have sworn I'd heard that somewhere. So I thought that was really cool and interesting as well, getting this kind of like emo sound from a band from over there. And the vocal delivery matches this ominous moodiness of the music so well with its unsettling higher pitch and almost disassociated sound to it. But suddenly, stabbing through this dark ethereal mood around the 30-second mark are these emotionally charged, anguished vocals that caught me by surprise, because I thought that the higher registered voice was going to be the voice of the verse proper and the chorus. I thought they were going to switch and move to a straight up delivery, but that wasn't what I got at all. It was this crazy performance by this man who comes in with this wild delivery, and these vocals come into focus. I catch a few lyrics. It takes one black cloud to spoil the bright day. I was the black cloud, she was the bright day. I thought that was a really interesting line. I suppose this is one way of taking ownership over what sounds like a doomed relationship. Then for the first time around the 56-second mark, he says the name Isabel, which is then followed by these fucking gorgeous piano notes that have this similar tinkling quality to them as the guitar, so they match really well at this point. And now I'm fully embracing the chaotic beauty of this song. He repeats the word feel as each delivery, with each delivery, it grows more emphatic, and so do the drum strikes that accompany it, until we get this sort of, that, as you've described it, gunshot fill that's usually on a really taut, like snare drum head or something. So we get that. I'm falling more and more in love with this craziness that's unfolding. And now I think we are in the throes of the chorus proper at this point, and we get these allusions to animals with yellow eyes and a battle from last night. And I have to say that there's some like terrific harmonies from that initial voice that I heard that are really rounding off the edges of his abrasive, anguished delivery. And I love the way that they're commingling, because they don't sound like they should go together, but they're somehow shoehorning in and just fitting, and it's just so lovely. So all these wonderful harmonies are backing up this lead vocalist who's teeters this interesting line between visceral and melodious. So at times his voice has a melody to it, but it's continually jeopardized by the emotion that he's feeling as he's delivering these words. And I really, really like that. Then we move back into the next verse as the singer vocalizes in a way akin to how one might feverishly scroll down notes in a diary, as if in an effort to get all of the feelings out of them, like emotional vomit. And to these ears, that's a good thing. I really love that a lot. It actually, there were so many times during the song where I was reminded of other bands that we've discussed on this channel. And one of the idiosyncratic behavior of this lead vocalist reminds me a lot of Me Without You, and the way that we got the vocal delivery from that band, as well as the guitar, the kind of like swirling, interesting guitar stuff kind of reminded me of Sunny Day Real Estate as well. And those are two bands that I really, really enjoy. So I'm absolutely digging this. The song then relies on the wonderful pre-chorus and chorus bits again before it shifts into some hitherto uncharted sounds around the 254 mark, as the guitar slides up on the neck, almost creating this like winding up sound, which blossoms into this really pretty but short-lived like guitar lead motif that I wish at 4:19 the song went to 5 minutes and they just played with this another 25 or 35 seconds because I really, really enjoyed that guitar. And it was quite unexpected. Like, this song didn't have, there's going to be a lead guitar part in this written on it at all. And then somehow it comes out of that part with it, and it does so pretty seamlessly. And then the song runs through one more verse, and again, like its previous counterparts, it's riddled with super vivid, from when I can catch the lyrics, vivid, unsettling imagery. This time references to getting down off your broomstick, which is just a really nice way of calling someone a witch. A punch bag with lipstick, that's not nice. And then being a half baked when the red mist is gone. They evoke these uneasy thoughts of like domestic violence. A punch bag with lipstick is basically, that's pretty fucking gross. And then this idea of being half baked when the red mist is gone, like maybe like the red mist is obviously the rage and it dissipating. And so this guy is the villain of this song is obviously one who is not a stranger to putting hands on this Isabel, which is awful and tragic, and I don't condone any of it. And yet this song is so interesting that it pulls me in to want to hear more about the subject matter I loathe. Which, I mean, art makes you do that, right? You know, how many times have I read or books with awful scenes being perpetrated, or watched films that, you know, I mean, I love the movie Seven. There's a lot of dark shit that happens in that movie Seven. So there's, you know, that happens in art. It makes you look at the things you don't want to look at, or you wouldn't otherwise look at, because it frames it in such an attractive artistic way that you can't not look away. So the piano and the guitar during the final portion where the singer implores Isabel to see if she remembers how it used to feel is so damn chaotic and beautiful at the same time. These two disparate sounds somehow fitting together despite all the calamity. I just thought it was a stunning way to bring the song to an emotionally unresolved ending. And yeah, it was a real roller coaster, the song of interesting subject matter, interesting sounds, interesting decisions made on how they would, you know, from how they would start the song to how they would treat the lead to how they would treat the multi-track vocals and the delivery thereof. The guitar and the piano commingling together, all of it was really, really intriguing to me. And I think at the end of it, I said I could listen to this 1,000 more times. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one a lot. It's got Andy written all over it, you know what I mean? So I'm glad I got to listen to this one.
Yeah, I'll give you my little brief thoughts on this. Yeah, it's interesting you say emo, because I associate emo with a particular sound rather than emotion. And we talked about the difference in my perception and yours, which may be a generational thing, or a geographical thing, or cultural thing, or just different. But yeah, this is, I would say, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it is overblown. And you could call him a bit of a drama queen.
Oh, you absolutely could.
And what it does make me question is if any of this is actually real, or it's all going on in his bedroom, in his head. That's one of the things but also it strikes me that the second part of it, if you hadn't enjoyed the initial burst, you'd have gone, oh God, spoken word, I can't stand spoken word. But it's how it's framed and how it's presented. So it's not just a guy just talking, as it were. You've got the dynamics from the first. Important. Yeah, from the first bit to the second bit. And I do like the way he delivers that initial sort of spoken rant. It's full of character. It reminded me, and it not necessarily in the way it sounds, but kind of the attitude, it reminded me of the Auteurs. And he's got this darkness to him as well, Luke Haynes. And of course, he took a lot of it from Black Francis. Again, you get sometimes that manic quality. He goes down the biblical route when he's talking about really horrible stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
He relates it to a story of the Bible, but it's all like bad shit in his head. So it's interesting, and I really enjoyed the hyperbole of it as well. Actually, it is dramatic in a scene, and it does make you wonder and think about, is he really beating on her, or is he just some sort of pathetic worm and she's left him long ago and he's imagining all this stuff, anyway. But we'll get into it. It's tremendously interesting as well, and musically really, really decent choices as well. I thought it sounded so British to me as well, the guitar especially. But yeah, so the Crimea were an British indie rock band from Camden, London.
Oh, Camden Town.
They formed in 2002. They released 3 studio albums over 11 years, finally disbanded in 2013. So the players, and there wasn't a lot of comings and goings, but Davy McManus, vocals and guitar, Andy Norton, guitar, Joseph Udwin, bass, backing vocals, Andrew Stafford, keyboards, backing vocals, Owen Hopkin, drums, and I think this guy sort of came in, was an additional Daniel Harris, guitar, so I'll give him his dues anyway. And just by the way, the lead singer, Davy McManus, is the brother of DJ Annie Mac, who's pretty well known in this country, and she's on the national sort of radio stations, and she's like a club DJ and more besides, actually. Pretty famous person, and she is his sister. So this song is the 6th track from their debut album Tragedy Rocks, which was self-released by them in 2004, and then they signed with Warner Brothers, and they re-released the album in 2005. Warner Brothers also re-released some of the recordings. They re-recorded their earlier singles with Warner Bros. And then released them again. So they weren't technically re-releases. They're just reimagining of stuff they'd done before. Of which Lottery Winners on Acid got to number 31 in the UK singles charts, and White Russian Galaxy reached the dizzying heights of number 51. And they're the only 2 bits of output that ever troubled any charts in anywhere. But I don't think they're a chart band. There you go. They have lots of qualities, and being top of the pops is not one of them. So Drowning Sound said, the lyric you quoted, only takes one black cloud to ruin a bright day. I was the black cloud, she was a bright day. Rasps Davy McManus on opposite heads. Literally, Tragedy Rocks is as uplifting as a mouse-infested bedsit lit by a naked light bulb. But for all his obsession with the steamier end of melancholy, this is an album stuffed with effortlessly hummable hooks and choruses. At times fuzzy, loose and lo-fi, at others bombastic and grandiose. The Crimea have an instinct for the appropriate. And Pop Matters said, lead singer Davy McManus's voice produces a husky, throaty type of sound that comes out as half scream, half sing. At times it's reminiscent of Conor Oberst and Joe Strummer. I don't know where they got that from, but
I get the Conor Oberst part, but I wasn't expecting you to follow that up with Joe Strummer.
Perhaps there's other tracks, eh? But McManus can certainly carry a tune, and in the back of his mind that he'd be a kick-ass yeller if the song called for it. Again, that's that Black Francis thing. His lyrics suit his voice because they often blur the line between upbeat and macabre, between trippy and sane. I'll go into the lyrics. Isobel, remember how it used to feel. 3 times. Isobel. Done something real bad this time. Practically signed my own death warrant. She was staring right at me, burning my eyelashes. Just the 2 of us left in this rusty old tub, neither overjoyed to be out of love. Takes one black cloud to spoil the bright day. I was the black cloud. She was the bright day. Isobel, remember how it used to feel. Feel, feel, feel. You and I are not the screaming animals with the yellow jealous eyes, and not the decoration of the battle last night. When we wake up in the morning, both at opposite ends. Wake up in the morning, both at opposite ends. Isobel, you look so good, I want to see hundreds of thousands of you crawling through the desert like a crusade of half-dead blue bottles. Our brains leave their skulls, walk the tightrope of our rabbit in the headlight stairs, melting together like pink and white marshmallows. Yeah, I was the fool, and yes, you were a fool. But who can name a penny that's not been in the pocket of a fool, of a fool, of a fool? Isobel, remember how it used to feel, 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 feel. You and I are not the screaming animals with yellow jealous eyes, and not the decoration of the battle last night. When we wake up in the morning, both at opposite ends. Wake up in the morning, both at opposite ends. Then there's a guitar break, as you said. Brief. And back in, it's hardly the stuff of legend. I ask the questions. Get down off your broomstick and sweep the floor. Sometimes I think you could be more than just a punch bag with lipstick on. When I'm half baked and the red mist is gone, I see you lying there. I wish that it could always be this way, that I could die this day. You always lying there, me always half baked, without a care in the stupid world, without a stupid world to care about. Isobel, remember how it used to feel. Isobel, Isobel, remember how it used to feel. Feel, 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 feel. We're done. So yeah, some interesting imagery there. I think some of it is almost like not realistic at all in any way. There's the trippy bit as well, there's the desert and the blue bottles and the marshmallows and stuff. Yeah, it's really interesting though, and you could lose yourself in the imagery without even considering a narrative.
Yeah, he definitely sounds like a man on the brink, not only in his like how he sounds, but in what he's saying. Just all these far off like allusions to like the pink and yellow, or what was it, pink and what the marshmallows, like that's
pink and white,
yeah, the pink and white marshmallows. Going from like discussing or making comparisons to that to saying something so visceral and disgusting in the next line or in just a few lines after that. It's just all over the map in his symbolisms or similes, and it's just really, it speaks to like how manic this guy is and crazy he is.
Yeah, I wonder if there was a culmination point where I think it's referring to something happened, when I'm half baked and remember to God, I see you lying there. I wish it could always be this way. I wish I could die this day. So I think maybe something happened, and as his manic episode, probably drug induced, created something, and then he's just, I wish we could put a stop on it at that point, because and almost cap it off and seal it up, and that's the end of the matter. Because obviously either something really bad has happened and he has to deal with it, or she's got up and walked away and he has to deal with it. Whereas if we could just seal that moment in aspic, as it were. I don't know why I picked the word aspic there, but there you go. But anyway, that's a horrible jelly, but there you go. It just makes me wonder, and probably not the case at all, but it's interesting. Just to follow on their narrative, because I have got something really interesting to say next. Not this bit, but so you can stop listening and I'll tell you when. The band left Warner Brothers in 2006. Their second album, Secrets of the Witching Hour, was released in April 2007 as a free download, some 6 months before Radiohead's landmark Pay What You Want in Rainbows. So yeah, they were sort of on that sort of same area as well before Radiohead. In an interview with God Is in the TV in 2013, following the release of their final album, singer Danny McManus spoke of his plan to go to Diepsloot, a slum in South Africa, to start a children's home. And he says, "So I got sick and tired about talking about myself and how great I am. brackets laughs. I'm supposed to be in Africa now. I'm supposed to be in South Sudan, but I agreed to stay and release this album. As soon as I've finished that, I'm going back to Africa, and I'm not fucking coming back. I've got no more no love for this country, man. David's thoughts are consumed mainly on how his life has now shifted from one stuck on the touring and writing albums treadmill for a major label to a less egotistical and more altruistic life, caring for others. He says, I needed a change, so I went and became a nurse. And I went to work in Africa for 2 periods of 4 months each, working with HIV patients in a shanty town with no running water or toilet. I spent the last 3 months staying in this slum in South Africa. I was the only white person out of 300,000 black people. Louis Theroux, I don't know if you're aware of him, is a sort of broadcaster and semi-journalist. He came to film one of his most dangerous places in the planet shows in Deep Lute, and he just stayed in his Jeep with his crew. I was there living it. He says, I always wanted to go over there and do some proper work. Western bands don't tend to tour over there. I managed to get my nursing degree. It was 3.5 years of hell. I enjoyed the practice, but I didn't enjoy the studying. I lost a lot of brain cells along the way with the band. I mean, I did it, and I got a first. But I want to start an orphanage over there, and I want to be a nurse, and I don't want to be a musician anymore.
Wow.
So yeah, that interview just really struck me. It's so interesting. So yeah, they brought out the last album and pretty much folded the band straight away. And he went off to Africa.
Wow.
And I thought about seeing where he is now, and I thought, no, I'll leave him without looking into it. I'll just leave him riding off to Africa.
Like him. He wants to encapsulate that moment and whatever that weird gelatin shit you were talking about.
Yeah.
You want your notion of him to remain preserved like that. You don't want to change it anymore.
That's something else, isn't it? That really is something else to hear that.
It's fucking amazing. You never hear that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's really admirable. I can't imagine throwing that all away for something not like farm life or, living off the grid. No, this is not only
it's making a difference, isn't it? It's making a difference.
Yeah. You're making a difference, and you're living a life that no one in their right mind would choose to live. And those who live that life are often referred to as, how pitiful or what a shame it is that they're in these circumstances. He said, no, I want to be among them. Those are going to be my people now, and I'm going to try to do my part to make their life a little less pitiful. And that's really admirable. And I can honestly say something I can't imagine myself ever doing. So it's incredible stuff.
I didn't take down the whole interview because there's loads more. It's really interesting. But what he's done is he's managed to set up a small school. He has little sing-alongs, and he's managed to get some basic instruments and teach kids music as well. And they have like sing-alongs around fires at night and stuff like that. So he's got his adoring audience again, but I'm just teasing. But it's so admirable, and he's making a difference to these people's lives. Which I'm sure in turn is enriching his own life, rather than the shallow sort of paybacks he's been getting from doing this shit for Warner Brothers or wherever.
Yeah, and it didn't even sound like he was getting the appreciation he wanted that much when he was writing music.
Yeah.
So maybe he realized that wasn't going to be the avenue to his own fulfillment. And he found it in this, which is, that's incredible shit, man. One more reason for me to be intrigued by and admire this group. So I'm going to go check.
Yeah. I would suggest that perhaps you go and check out Tragedy Rocks, the album this is from. So I think you'll really enjoy it. And then perhaps you can feedback some more of that stuff into the channel.
And so you could, because I was going to say, you're suggesting I check them out because you two are curious about the band. Yeah, cool. That's awesome. Yeah, then I likely will. So thank you, Tin, for offering up this track. This was not only was it just at face value a really cool song with a lot of interesting stuff injected into it, but what a wonderful backstory to this to the kind of the voice of the band and the face of the band.
Yeah, it really was. Thanks a lot, Tim. Tuki. I'll wrap things up. thanks for listening, Andy. Thanks, Tim Suki. We've said our thank yous already. I'll hit myself. But anyway, folks out there, tell us what you think. Hit the like button. Don't ask me why. Just do it.
Yeah.
Drop comments. Tell us what you think about this song, about this band. You guys would probably know more about them than either of us schmucks.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything you want to say, we'd love to hear about it. If you haven't already subscribed, please do, and it will count towards part of your $5 a day. That being said, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see all of you in the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.